Hello everyone, today's October 13th, 2010. Over the weekend I watched a C-SPAN presentation that had some economic professors from different universities, and it had former Vice Chair of the Federal Reserve, I believe, Rivlin, and it had a economic advisor of the White House, can't think of her name. Anyway, it was on central banking. So they all said how important it was to maintain the independence of the Federal Reserve. The central bank does things that aren't always favorable, in crisis situations and in difficult times. And they have to be independent, otherwise they wouldn't be able to accomplish their goals. To me, that just means that they need to do things in secrecy, because everyone would flip out if they knew the fraudulent activity going on. I mean, I don't think that everything should be in the dark of these dealings. Like, I remember Bernanke being questioned by Congress. They were asking him, well, where'd the money go? Where'd the $500 billion go that you gave over to Europe? And he just basically said, I don't know, or I'm not going to tell you. Or he can say whatever he wants, because under the Federal Reserve Act 1913, he could just play dumb and just say, well, I'm not going to tell you that, because he doesn't have to legally. So anyway, that's just something I wanted to bring up. I watched that. And then another question, they were talking about how if you have a period of, I forget what it's called, but if you have a period of low inflation, then you have a period of higher inflation that can offset to equal out. So it's okay to have this higher inflation. They're all saying, there's periods of time where it's okay to have 4% inflation is fine. When is it ever fine to steal my wealth or to steal your wealth? 4% inflation means 4% of your wealth is being stolen each year. Now, it's never okay to steal our wealth. I mean, we've all been tricked into believing that inflation is just a normal thing. It's normal in economies to have inflation. A little bit of inflation is good. It's okay. There's no problem to steal 3 to 4% of your wealth every year. It's just a normal thing. No, it's not a normal thing. We had virtually no inflation for 150 years in this country before we had the Federal Reserve. Prices didn't change much. There's no reason for the prices to change. Inflation is a hidden tax. It's just a way to steal your wealth. That's kind of, that is on the under, because most people, they don't understand what inflation is. And we're talking about quantitative easing. But we don't know what it's going to be. We don't know whether maybe they're going to say $100 billion a month. They're going to be buying bonds, government bonds. And basically that's just printing money out of thin air. And it's not even really a printing press. It's just an entry on the keyboard on the computer. But the money's created out of nothing, and then we're buying our own debt to help stimulate the bond prices. The bonds go up, interest rates, it would force them down further. I mean, that's one positive if you own a house and you're able to refinance. If you're in like anything above 5%, it'll probably be worthwhile when we see, right now I'm going to predict that we're going to see 3.75% on home loans, and sometime in the next 6 months. Especially if this quantitative easing is big enough, we're definitely going to see the 3.75%. So, it's going to help. Dude, that's the whole idea. See, the whole idea is for them to push up asset prices. They want to push up the prices. They want houses to be pushed up again. They want the stock market to be pushed up. They want all to have this illusion that everything's, getting repaired. Now, of course, that's inflationary, having all the prices of all these things go up. But if people have their houses to where they can borrow against them again, well, that's great. They can keep the game going. It's like a circus where you got all these people running in Congress, and the people in government, they're jumping through hoops they're riding around on the pony and just trying to keep things going, so not falling off, to keep this economy from collapsing and keep a currency crisis from happening. Because they have to keep it going. I mean, if they were to do the right thing, it would be so painful that they'd all be out of a job. The number one thing on politicians' mind is votes. Everything is geared by votes. So you don't want to come out and say, well, we need to let housing prices fall further so it can stabilize. You don't want to tell American people that your house has to go down in value so we can fix the problem that we're in. They're not going to take that. I mean, you're not going to be voted back in. But that's one of the things that needs to happen. You can't just keep inflating this stuff like cash for clunkers. Okay, let's just give you some money so you can turn in your perfectly running car and take out a $20,000 loan, borrow more money so we can prop up that market. And then the $8,000 for buying a house, let's try and prop. Well, they sort of did something for a while, but that's over with. We're back to the housing market going down again. We got all these record number of loans resetting that were all taken out in 05. They're all resetting, and I really think that we're going to have the Federal Reserve come out and say that they're going to do some pretty hefty stimulating. I mean, the money has to be printed. There's really no way around it.